The hits just keep on coming for Bud Light. And I'm not talking about all the classics. I'm not talking about the unforgettable Bud Weiser. Bud Weiser. Or for those of you who are into those sappy love songs, who could ever forget the classic, When a Man Becomes a Woman? Or my personal favorite, And I Know We Will Go Through Transition Together one sweet day. Unfortunately for Bud Light, no one is focusing on the classic songs right now. It has been one disaster after another, one huge embarrassing failure after another. If I wanted to, I could have spent the entire week this week talking about the further decline of Bud Light. It is an absolute bloodbath, not a woke bath. There's nothing pleasant about it. We are almost 2 months into this boycott, and it is showing no signs of slowing down. Executives at Anheuser Busch, they have spent their time this week trying to do damage control. Of course, they are still forgetting the most important part, apologizing. Not that an apology would do any good at this point. No one would take it seriously. People would take it for what it really is. Virtue signaling, pandering, trying to win back all the angry dudes they pissed off with Dylan Mulvaney. Hey, it's me, Bobby D. Earlier this week, Bud Light announced their exciting summer brand campaign. It is abundantly clear who they are trying to target. These cans, they will not be featuring men in dresses. You will not be exposed to the full moon of gay Gayerson flaunting the dong and thong. We are trying to appease the patriots. We are trying to appease the real Americans like Hulk Hogan. Instead of cans of Budweiser featuring the beautiful face of Dylan Mulvaney, they are going to be wrapped in Harley Davidson. We love men who ride hogs. Cans of Bud Light, they're going to be wrapped in camouflage, which is brilliant marketing when you think about it. Cases of blue Bud Light cans, they have been sitting on store shelves for weeks. The thinking is these camouflaged cans, they will blend in with other beers. They are hoping consumers will purchase them by mistake. Bud Light, they announced these changes this week on social media. In a complete change in strategy, they actually left their comments on. For weeks now, normal people, they have not been allowed to comment on Bud Light's account. I am sure they thought this new marketing campaign would receive glowing reviews. To the surprise of no one, it didn't. But that is the least of their worries. There are far greater problems facing Bud Light than reading negative remarks from Randy Redneck and his wife Beulah. I'm talking mass layoffs. I'm talking a continued massive decline in sales and a potential congressional investigation looking into allegations that Bud Light was targeting children by partnering with Dylan Mulvaney. In the alcohol industry, that is no bueno. But before we get into all that, let me get to the sponsor for today's video, my boy Alden over at Patriots for Prosperity. Alden has been absolutely great, helping us pay off the mortgage and save for retirement at the same time. He can do the same for you guys. You know, we have been programmed to believe that throwing our money into a 401k is the best way to build wealth. All these financial experts, they have convinced us putting money in a qualified retirement account is the best decision. Seems to me, banks benefit the most. They have your money locked away for decades, and if you ever want to access your money too soon, you get penalized. How dare you ask for your own money? Luckily, we have a better option available. Have you guys ever wondered where the super wealthy keep their money? Walt Disney, JCPenney, Donald Trump? They use what my friends at Patriots for Prosperity call the Liberty Asset. Been around over 150 years, never failed to turn a profit. Instead of having the bank's best interest in mind, Alden and Patriots for Prosperity, they have your best interest in mind. They will help you find the best place to store your wealth. And the best part is, you always have access to your money and it grows tax-free. Like I said, I am already using the Liberty Asset and the infinite banking concept myself. I encourage you to do the same. Go to www.thelibertyasset.com/behindtheline or click the link in the description below to see if the Liberty Asset is right for you. All right, according to the New York Post, Bud Light is launching this new campaign to assist Folds of Honor program. This program, it provides scholarships for families of disabled military veterans and first responders so their children can be brainwashed at a woke U campus of their choosing. All jokes aside, from what I read about Folds of Honor, they do a lot of good for our veterans, but sending your child to woke you, it's extremely risky. You send off an innocent kid who loves their country. What do you receive in return? A grade A shit fuck. An insider from Bud Light told the New York Post, this campaign will feature aluminum bottles only. It will be the only Bud Light package that is transitioning. Interesting choice of words there. But that's not the only transition happening at Bud Light. With sales declining by over 20% for the sixth or seventh week in a row, there are now rumors that current employees at Bud Light will be transitioning out of the workforce. Stock prices are down 12% in the last few weeks. Now, that might not seem like a big drop, but it is massive. That is a loss of billions of dollars. And I'm not talking about 1 billion. That's chump change. I'm talking a loss of $7 billion. Now, what is the fastest way to offset a massive loss in revenue? Layoffs. Production at the plants, it has come to a complete halt. I mean, there is no need to produce cases of beer when no one's buying it. Hell, they can't even give this shit away. I saw something the other day where they were trying to give away free cases of Bud Light. No one took it. No one was willing to bite into the shit sandwich. This is the reason companies should not involve themselves with politics. Cans of Bud Light, it's become a political symbol. People are embarrassed to be seen with it. When you see someone drinking Bud Light, you know they've entered into holy matrimony with Tran Dan. Problem is, even the T's are boycotting Bud Light. How dare they distance themselves from Bobby D? Dylan Mulvaney is to be worshipped. This is blasphemy! Bud Light has managed to alienate everyone. Randy Redneck will never drink Bud Light again. Even though Tran Dan's pissed off, he never drank Bud Light to begin with. Dan prefers the freshness of Don's hard lemonade. Emphasis on the hard. I love a good stiffy drink. The thing about brand loyalty, it can instantly evaporate. Bud Light has spent decades branding themselves as the American beer. They have been the #1 beer in America my entire life. You can piss off consumers and still maintain their loyalty. Normal people are very forgiving. They can look past simple mistakes, but when you betray them, when they feel like they've been lied to, it is almost impossible to get them back. Dylan Mulvaney is not the primary reason this Bud Light boycott has lasted for almost 2 months. Bobby D was the spark, but Bob didn't bend over and fart to spread the flames. This is a classic case of the cover-up being worse than the crime. If executives at Bud Light had seen the outrage and immediately apologized, this thing would have ended weeks ago. Sure, some people would still refuse to support them, but if they had acknowledged that they misjudged their customer base, if they had acknowledged that they were in the wrong, most people would have eventually forgive and forget. Instead, they do the complete opposite. They sent their vice president of marketing out to lecture their consumers. You people just aren't educated. I have a PhD in stupidity from Harvard. No one can kill a brand better than me. The condescension, the lying, the cover-up. That is why this boycott is showing no signs of slowing down. Unfortunately for Bud Light, they have an even bigger problem. Anytime there is a situation like this, you can pretty much guarantee one thing. A politician is going to take advantage of it. You can bet your ass a politician will use this situation to his advantage. And that is exactly what Ted Cruz is doing. Ooh, Eddie Teddy! Some of you may recognize him as Ted Cruz, Republican senator from the great state of Texas. I actually want to give Senator Ted Cruz credit because I didn't think about this. Matter of fact, most people in the media completely overlooked it. It is against the law for alcohol companies to create ad campaigns targeting minors. This should be obvious. Minors are not allowed to consume the booze, so there should be no reason for beer companies to target kids. Ted Cruz made an excellent point. Who is the target audience for Dylan Mulvaney? Who is watching all these talk ticks of Bobby D illustrating the exciting journey from giver of seeds to receiver of seeds? I'm not watching that shit. My girlfriend's not watching. My parents damn sure aren't watching. My friends aren't watching. 95% of my audience over the age of 25, You guys aren't watching. The demographic watching Dylan Mulvaney is children. Makes sense, right? Adults are not fooled by the gimmick, but kids are easily influenced. I love you, you love me. I want to be Bobby D with a great woke hugs and socks portraying boobs. Won't you say you'll transition too? Yesterday morning on Fox News, Ted Cruz announced his plan to go after Bud Light. Watch for yourself.
This week, I sent a letter to the CEO of Anheuser Busch, along with Senator Marsha Blackburn, because the CEO of Anheuser Busch is also the CEO or the chairman of the Beer Institute, which is the regulatory body, the industry regulatory body that regulates itself. And one of the rules that beer companies are supposed to follow is they're not supposed to market to kids. Remember the whole Joe the Camel thing? This is the same thing here. Well, you know what? Dylan Mulvaney, a massive percentage of Dylan Mulvaney's audience are kids. And Budweiser was trying, I believe, with this ill-fated marketing attempt to target teenagers.
Now, do I think anything is going to come from this? No. I don't have a problem with Ted Cruz. I do think he's one of few politicians that remains somewhat in touch with normal people, but Teddy is still a politician. What do politicians do best? They talk a good game and never get shit done. This is all political pandering, but it's still a great move because it gives normal people another reason to remain pissed off with Bud Light. It just keeps the boycott going, keeps the pressure on. My stance has not changed. I don't think Bud Light can come back from this. This brand is forever tarnished. They have been made the example, and oftentimes when you're the example, you never recover. Now, that doesn't mean Bud Light is going out of business. Their other brands are too strong. Brands like Michelob Ultra still have a loyal following. Women are not going to stop drinking it because it's less calories. Lizzo's may boycott Mick Ultra. Where are my calories, damn it? I can't make weight with only 95 calories per beer. But normal women concerned about their figure, they are going to continue drinking Mick Ultra. Most don't even realize it's a Bud Light brand. But you want to know why there has been so much outrage with Bud Light? I think I've mentioned this before here on the channel, but in the past, transgender influencers, they have promoted brands targeted towards women. Ulta, Maybelline, the doctor offices of Leslie and Leslie, where you don't know which doctor is the man or woman. Dylan Mulvaney endorsing Bud Light. It was the first mass campaign of a brand that is mostly consumed by men. Real men. Women, they are more docile by nature. Women are less likely to express their outrage. Men are the complete opposite. Most women, they are not going on Twitter shooting up lipstick from Maybelline. Bud Light was the first one to push Dylan Mulvaney on men, and it backfired. I highly doubt we ever see something like this again. Conservative media, they have been going through the archives this week, finding old commercials from Miller Lite. I also saw an old commercial from Ford this week that came out like 2 years ago. I get what conservative media, I get what they're trying to do. They are trying to make these other companies pay for their past sins. But the impact just isn't the same. It happened too long ago. It happened before Bud Light. I don't think we're going to see major brands using these types of influencers anymore. It's not worth the risk. And I'm sure you've noticed, Dylan Mulvaney has been strangely silent. Outside of one interview that received a few thousand views here on YouTube, we have heard absolutely nothing from Dylan Mulvaney. It's over for Bobby D. The gimmick is finished. The influence is gone. But give me your thoughts. Bud Light sales continue their massive decline. Is there any way they can recover from this? Also, do you think anything comes out of this potential investigation being pushed by Ted Cruz? Is he serious, or do you think this is just political pandering? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.